Now we are in the fourth part of the second chapter of the great book series, Story of Civilization Part 2. And this chapter is the second chapter, World War One, and we are in the subheading, The Outbreak of War. The outbreak of war. The war was precipitated, what's called immediate cause, by an incident which would not have created much stir if Europe had not stood divided into two hostile armed camps, preparing for war for many years. On 28 June 1914, Archduke Francis Ferdinand, the heir to the throne of Austria Hungary, was assassinated at Sarajevo, capital of Bosnia. Bosnia, it may be recalled, had been annexed by Austria only a few years earlier. Right? Austria saw the hand of Serbia behind the assassination and served her with an ultimatum. Serbia refused to accept one of the demands of the ultimatum, which went against the independence of Serbia. On 28th July 1914, 28th July 1914, Austria declared war on Serbia. Russia had promised full support to Serbia and started full-scale preparations for war. Russia entered. On 1st August, Germany declared war on Russia, and on 3rd August, on France. German troops marched into Belgium to press on to France on 4th August, and on the same day, Britain declared war on Germany. Suddenly, everybody's with everybody. Many other countries soon entered the war. Japan declared war on Germany with the view to capturing German colonies in the Far East. Turkey and Bulgaria joined on the side of Germany. Italy, in spite of her membership of the Triple Alliance, remained neutral for some time and joined the war against Germany and Austria-Hungary in 1915. Next subheading is the course of the war. Now, how the war went. Germany had hoped that through a lightning strike through Belgium, she would be able to defeat France within a few weeks and then turn against Russia. The plan seemed to succeed for a while, and the German troops were within 20 kilometers of Paris. Russia had opened attacks on Germany and Austria, and some German troops had to be diverted to the Eastern Front. Soon the German advance on France was halted, and the war in Europe entered a long period of stalemate. In the meantime, the war had spread to many other parts of the world, and battles were fought in West Asia, Africa, and the Far East. After the German advance had been halted, a new type of warfare developed. The warring armies dug trenches from which they conducted raids on each other. This kind of warfare that the armies were used to earlier, fighting in the open, almost disappeared. On the Western Front, which included Eastern France and Belgium, the troops of the warring sides dug trenches and continued their raids on each other's positions. For about 4 years, neither side could dislodge the other. The European countries made use of the troops recruited from their colonies in the war. Labor from colonies was also used to dig trenches in Europe. On the Eastern Front, Germany and Austria succeeded in repulsing the Russian attack and capturing parts of the Russian Empire. They were also successful against Romania, Serbia, and Italy. Outside Europe, there were campaigns against the Ottoman Empire in Palestine, Mesopotamia, and Arabia, and against Germany and Turkey in Iran, where they were trying to establish their influence. Japan occupied German possession in East Asia, and Britain and France seized most of the German colonies in Africa. A large number of new weapons were introduced. The machine gun and liquid fire were two such weapons. For the first time, aircrafts were used in warfare and for bombing the civilian population. The British introduced the use of the tank, which was to become a major weapon later. Both the warring groups tried to block each other supplies of food, manufactures, and arms, and the sea warfare played an important part in this. Submarines called U-boats were used by Germany on a large scale, not only to destroy enemy ships but also ships of neutral countries. Heading for British ports, Another horrible weapon used in the war was poison gas. Poison gas was used. The war dragged on, taking a toll of hundreds of thousands of human lives. Such a senseless thing, no? On 6th April 1917, the United States of America declared war on Germany. USA had become the main source of arms and other essential supplies for the Entente countries. In 1915, the German U boats had sunk a British ship, Lusitania. Tanya. Among the 11 53 passengers killed were 128 Americans. The Americans were generally sympathetic to Britain, and this incident further roused anti German feelings in USA. Economic considerations had turned them even more in favor of the Entente countries. These countries had raised vast amounts of loans in USA to pay for the arms and other goods bought by them. Many Americans had subscribed to these loans, which could be paid back only if these countries won the war. So everything got connected. See, everything gets connected. There was also a fear that if Germany won the war, she would become a serious rival to USA. The sinking of ships, including American ships carrying American citizens by the German U boats, finally led USA to join the war. Another major development that took place in 1917 was the withdrawal of Russia from the war after October Revolution. They had the revolution there, it's Russian Revolution. The Russian revolutionaries had opposed the war from the beginning, and under the leadership of Lenin, had decided to transform it into a revolutionary war to overthrow the Russian autocracy and to seize power. The Russian Empire had suffered serious reverses in the war. Over 600,000 Russian soldiers had been killed. The day after the Bolshevik government came to power, it issued a decree on peace with proposals to end the war without any annexations and indemnities. Russia decided to withdraw from the war and signed a peace treaty with Germany. In March 1918, realizing that the Russian government was not prepared to continue the war, Germany imposed terms which were very harsh on Russia. But the Russian government accepted these terms. The Entente powers, which were opposed to the revolution in Russia and to the Russian withdrawal from the war, started their armed intervention in Russia in support of the elements which were opposed to the revolution. This led to a civil war, which lasted for 3 years and ended with the defeat of foreign intervention and of those Russians who had taken up arms against the revolutionary government. So they were suppressed. And the dictatorship, the communist Russia came. The next subheading is End of the War. And that we'll see the next chapter, next video.